Hi everyone. I'm Helen from Susan's Family Chinese Aesthetics series Blessing Blanket with 4 harmonies. For this electronic tutorial, you can search for Susan's Family to view it. The blanket is made of motif 1. Connecting motif 1. The first edging. Motif 2. Connecting motif 2. It consists of connecting the pieces and the second edging. In order. First crochet and connect the motif 1 sections. After completing, crochet the first edging around the outer ring. Then move on to crocheting and connecting motif 2. After finishing, connect the motif 2 sections with the first edging. This is the piece connection. Finally, crochet the second edging around the perimeter of motif 2. Let's start by crocheting motif 1 and connecting it. Start by completing one full motif 1. The remaining motif 1 pieces will be worked and joined along the side while crocheting the outermost circle. Motif 1 comes in solid color and multicolored versions. The multicolored ones have several contrasting color schemes. The working method for both types of motifs is identical. However, the multicolored version requires changing colors for each round. The solid color does not involve color changes. The handling of the beginning and ending will be slightly different. Here, I'll first explain the crochet technique for the multicolored motif 1. All motifs start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. A variety of stitch techniques are used. These are all marked on the chart. I won't go through each one individually. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. To make it easier for you to watch, I'll randomly use a few colors for the demonstration. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes. Let's start with the magic ring first. Pick up the yarn with your right hand, and wrap it twice around your left index finger. Now there are 3 strands of yarn on the index finger. Use the thumb and index finger of your right hand to pinch where the loops overlap. Take it out. Then wrap the yarn tail once around your left little finger. Pass it through between the middle finger and index finger. Transfer the loop to between the left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Insert the hook into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on the hook. Continue with a chain to secure. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. 1 chain is completed. Slightly tighten. Don't pull the loop on the hook too tight. Now the magic ring is completed. Next, work the first round. Start with 4 chains as the turning chain for the treble crochet. Yarn over and draw through. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 chains count as 1 treble crochet. Then make 1 treble crochet. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. Now there are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through the first 2 loops. There are 3 loops left. Continue to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops again. Now 2 loops remain. This is an incomplete treble crochet. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. 1 treble crochet is now complete. The braid on the upper right represents its stitch. 1 symbol stands for 1 stitch. Here, we'll count the beginning chain and the treble crochet as a special DC2 bobble stitch. Work 2 chains for interval next. Then make a TR2 bobble stitch. Start by picking up the loop of the stitch. Work 2 incomplete treble crochets. One. 2. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through in once. This completes the TR2 bobble stitch. The braid on the upper right is its stitch. Later, work 2 chains for the interval. Continue to alternate crocheting the TR2 bobble stitches downward, and 2 chains. Repeat this 6 times. Crochet all the way to the back. If the remaining space is small, you can move the completed part forward a bit. Then continue crocheting downward. After finishing, everyone double checks. Add the special bobble stitch. There are 8 bobble stitches in this round. Each bobble stitch is separated by 2 chains. After completing, close the ring. There are 2 loops here in total. First, gently pull the beginning tail of the yarn. You will see one loop becomes movable. Then from the side of the yarn tail, pull tight the movable loop outward. One loop remains now. Directly tighten the beginning tail of the yarn. This way, the loop is closed. Next, find the chain. At the 4th chain position, pick up the 2 strands of this chain and insert the hook. Work 1 slip stitch. Yarn over and draw through. Pull through all the loops on your hook. Complete the slip stitch. Note that the slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch here. You need to tighten it to avoid having extra stitches later. The first round is now completed. For the next round, you need to change colors. Break the yarn. Tighten it. Weave the yarn tail into the wrong side of the fabric. The side with neat stitch texture is the right side of the fabric. The wrong side has a more blurred texture. You can hide the end by working a few extra stitches. Now continue with the second round. Pick up a stitch in any bobble stitch from the previous round and insert your hook. For the special bobble stitch, insert the hook into the stitch of the treble crochet. Join the yarn. Pick up the corresponding color, make a slip knot with the yarn. Pull it through. Adjust slightly. Pay attention to not letting the knot show on the right side. Now the yarn is joined. Crochet 4 chains next. Then pick up the chains and crochet HDC4 puff. Start by working an incomplete half double crochet, yarn over. Insert the hook into the chain. Yarn over and draw through. There are 3 loops on the hook. This is an incomplete half double crochet. Continue with 3 more incomplete half double crochets. While crocheting here, you can use your finger to hold down the loops on the hook. This way, the height of the stitches will be about the same. One, 2, 3. Yarn over one last time. Draw through all loops on the hook. Complete the HDC4 puff. Pick up the same stitch position below. Work 1 slip stitch. No need to tighten after completing this stitch. The pattern chart indicates this with an oval-shaped dot. Crochet 2 chains for the interval next. Then pick up the next stitch position for the puff stitch. Work 1 slip stitch that is not tightened. Then crochet 4 chains. Next, pick up a chain and work HDC4 puff. Start by working 4 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over once, and draw through all loops. Complete the HDC4 puff. Then pick up the same stitch below. Work 1 slip stitch that is not tightened. I consider the stitches worked on one stitch as a group of patterns. Crochet 1 chain for spacing below. Then pick up the next puff stitch. Work a group of patterns. After completing, add a spacing of 2 chains. Pick up the next stitch and work a group of patterns. Later, add a spacing of 1 chain. Continue picking up puff stitches to work a group of patterns. Alternate with spacing between each pattern group. 2 chains and 1 chain. Continue crocheting following this method. Finally, at the joining position, insert the hook and make one loose slip stitch. The second round is complete. Proceed to fasten off the yarn. Tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails to secure them first. Then hide the remaining yarn tails on the wrong side. Next, crochet the third round. Start from any one stitch in the previous round. Join the yarn in the chain space of 2 chains. Then crochet 4 chains. Next, in the same chain space, work a puff stitch with 4 treble crochets. First, make 4 incomplete treble crochets. While crocheting, hide the yarn tail as you go. One, two, three, 4. Finally, yarn over, and pull through all the loops on your hook. Complete the puff stitch with 4 treble crochets. Similarly, the braid on the upper right is formed by its stitches. Next, crochet a CH3SL picket. From now on, I'll simply call it picket. Start with 3 chains. Then pick up the stitch of the bobble stitch below. Choose the thread that is closer to the front for the braid, and also the 4 strands on the left side. At this point, you will have picked up 5 strands like this. Work 1 slip stitch. The slip stitch inside the picket does not need to be tightened here. Moving forward, unless otherwise specified, the slip stitches do not need to be tightened. At this point, the picket is completed. Next, crochet 4 chains. Then pick up the same hole underneath, and work 1 loose slip stitch. Afterward, crochet 5 chains for transition. Then pick up the next one in the hole made by 2 chains. Crochet 1 slip stitch without tightening. Pay attention here to place the stitches from the previous round in front. Moving on to crochet 4 chains. Then pick up the same hole underneath, and work 1 bobble stitch with 4 treble crochets. After completing it, crochet a picket. Then continue with 4 chains. And pick up the same hole underneath to work 1 loose slip stitch. I consider the stitches worked in the hole as one corner. Crochet 5 chains as a transition going downward. This makes one side. Following this, use the method for sides and corners. Continue crocheting 2 more corners and 2 more sides. Note that all corners start by inserting the hook into the hole made by 2 chains. After completing it, at the starting position where you joined the yarn, crochet a loose slip stitch. The third round is complete. Fasten off and weave in the ends. Move on to crochet the fourth round. Join the yarn in any chain space from the previous round side. Then crochet 6 chains. Next, pick up a chain space. Work a DT or 3 bobble. First, work 3 incomplete double treble crochets. Yarn over the hook 3 times. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. At this point, there will be 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through the first 2 loops sequentially. Repeat 3 times. Once. Twice. 3 times. Now there are 2 loops left on the hook. This is an incomplete double treble crochet. Continue with 2 more incomplete double treble crochets. One. 2. Now there are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through in once. Complete the bobble stitch with 3 double treble crochets. The braid on the upper right is its stitch. Continue crocheting 6 chains. I treat the slip stitches on both sides, and the middle bobble stitch as one bobble stitch pattern set. Pick up the same chain space below. Crochet a tight slip stitch. Then crochet another bobble stitch pattern. Start with 6 chains. Then work a DT or 3 bobble. Start by crocheting 3 incomplete treble crochets. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. After completing it, continue with 6 chains. At this point, the bobble stitch pattern is done. Crochet one more slip stitch in the same space without tightening. Next, crochet 6 chains for transition. Insert the hook into the next edge chain space. Work a slip stitch without pulling too tight. Then crochet 2 bobble stitch patterns. Work 1 slip stitch in between without tightening. Then crochet 6 chains for transition. Moving forward, work in the edge chain spaces. Crochet 2 bobble stitch patterns and 3 slip stitches that are not too tight. After completing each edge section, crochet 6 chains for transition. Following this method, continue crocheting downward. You can also refer to the chart for more details. Finally, at the joining position, work a loose slip stitch. Complete the 4th round. Fasten off the yarn and weave in the ends. Continue to the 5th round. For this round, insert into the stitch positions from 2 rounds below. First, at the 2 bobble stitch patterns from the previous round. On the right side pattern, pick up the stitch and join the yarn. Then, make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Correspondingly, work 1 single crochet, insert the hook, yarn over and draw through. Now there are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through both loops in once. This completes the single crochet. The V-shaped loop above to the right is the stitch you just made. Next, crochet 5 chains as a transition. Pick up the adjacent bobble stitch pattern from the round below and insert your hook. Work 1 single crochet. Then make 2 chains for an interval. Below, pick up the third round on the lower left side, the center hole of the picket. Alternate crocheting 1 T or 2 bobble and 2 chains. Repeat this pattern 4 times. One time. Two times. Three times. Four times. After completing it, I will work on the 4 puff stitches above the picket and the 3 chain spaces in between. Consider this as 1 corner of the round. Continue picking up stitches downward. Pick up the adjacent puff stitch in the bobble stitch pattern set. Work 1 single crochet. 5 chains. Continue to pick up the adjacent puff stitch, and work 1 single crochet. 2 chains. Here, we will treat these 2 single crochets, along with the chains on either side, and the chain spaces in between, as one edge. Continue crocheting according to the method for edges and corners. Keep going with your crocheting. Finally, at the starting position of the single crochet, pick up the stitch and work 1 slip stitch. Pull tight. The 5th round is now complete. Fasten off and weave in ends. Next, we will crochet the 6th round in any edge from the previous round. Join the yarn in the first chain space. Chain 1 to begin. Work 1 single crochet in the same space. Crochet single crochets by picking up chain spaces as you move down. Work 6 chains between each single crochet. Continue all the way to the left side. At the space between 2 bobble stitches. Finish crocheting the corresponding single crochet in the space. Continue crocheting downward, start with 4 chains. Then pick up the adjacent chain space, work TR2 bobble. Then work 7 chains for the interval. Crochet another TR2 bobble in the same space. Work 4 chains afterward. I consider the bobble stitch and the chain spaces on either side as one corner. Move down and start from the adjacent space. Continue crocheting until you reach just before the next corner. Refer to the chart for specific stitch patterns. The completed section here forms one edge. Below, crochet the next corner. Continue crocheting using the method for edges and corners. Work downward to complete the starting edge. Finally, pick up a stitch in the starting single crochet, and join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Break the yarn. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. At this point, the 6th round is completed. Simultaneously, one complete motif 1 is finished. This is the crocheting method for the colorful motif 1. Next, I will explain it further. The crocheting method for the solid color motif 1. At the same time, starting from the second motif, you need to work and join along the outer edge simultaneously. Here, whether it's a solid color or multicolored, the joining method is the same. Here, I will first explain the beginning and ending of the first 5 rounds for the solid color motif. For the first round, complete it using the same method as the colored motif. Do not fasten off the yarn at the end. Then, directly crochet 4 chains. Next, pick up the chains and crochet HDC4 puff. Then refer to the chart to finish this round. For the final slip stitch, insert your hook in the same place as the previous round slip stitch insertion point. In the third round, you will need to carry the yarn across. First, enlarge the loop on the crochet hook. Pull the yarn or fabric through from the inside. Slightly tighten it. Next, on the left side, insert your hook into the hole made by 2 chains. Draw the yarn through. Then crochet 4 chains. Continue by referring to the chart to finish this round. Finally, work a slip stitch at the yarn carrying position. After completing it, continue with the 4th round. Start by carrying the yarn across again. Insert your hook into the hole made by 5 chains on the right side. Draw the yarn through. Then make 6 chains. The crocheting method for the rest is the same as before. While crocheting here, you can place the yarn tail used for carrying yarn above the hook, and hide it as you work. Continue referring to the chart to finish this round. Finally, again, work a slip stitch in the hole where the puff stitch motif begins. For the 5th round, cut off the previous yarn. And join a new thread on the puff stitch from the puff stitch motif. The crocheting method afterward is identical to that of colorful motif 1. Just follow the chart to complete it. After finishing, start crocheting the 6th round. You'll need to make a connection here. For the colorful motifs, use the same method as before. First, join the yarn and crochet up to the position of the corner. For the solid color motifs, you can use the carrying yarn technique. Pull the yarn through at the right side hole. Then continue crocheting down to just before the first corner. Here, I'll use this solid color motif to demonstrate the connecting method. When you actually connect them, make sure to refer to the motif arrangement chart or the finished product picture for guidance. For connecting the second motif, you only need to connect 2 corners and 1 side with the first motif. Connect the first corner as you crochet downward. Start by crocheting 4 chains, then 1 treble crochet bobble stitch, tr2 tog in 1, followed by 3 chains. Pick up the first motif and continue from there. With the right side facing up, locate any corner position. Insert the hook into the chain space between the bobble stitches. Work 1 slip stitch to connect. Here, insert from the front side of the motif. After completing, continue with 3 chains. Go back to the second motif and work 1 tr2 bobble. Then, crochet 4 chains. At this point, the corner has been crocheted and connected. Then crochet and connect the edge. Start by picking up an adjacent hole, and working 1 single crochet. Then crochet 3 chains. On the edge corresponding to the first motif. Work a slip stitch into the chain space to connect. After completing, continue with 3 chains. Pick up the adjacent chain space of the second motif. And work 1 single crochet. At this point, 1 hole is connected. Continue downward using the same method. Connect 3 holes. At this point, 1 edge is completed. The connection for this edge is also finished. Continue crocheting and connecting the next corner. By now, the connection area between 2 motifs is completed. There's no connection needed for the remaining part of the second motif. Just follow the chart to complete the rest of it. Finally, fasten off the yarn and weave in the ends. At this point, the second motif is crocheted. And the connection is also completed. In the layout chart, the motifs in the first row are all connected to the previous motif, using the same method as the second motif, connecting 2 corners and 1 edge. Everyone can follow the previous method, referring to the layout chart, to complete the connection of the corresponding motif 1. Next, I'll explain with a finished product, the connection method for the motifs in the second row and the remaining rows. When connecting the first motif of each row to the previous row, it also involves connecting 2 corners and 1 edge. Starting with the second motif, it needs to be connected to the previous motif, and also connected to the motifs from the previous row. When connecting to the previous motif, follow the previous method. Connect 1 corner and 1 edge first. When connecting the second corner, you will encounter the connection point of the previous motif. Here, insert the hook into the position of the previously connected slip stitch. You can connect by picking up any 2 threads of the slip stitch. For the position of the following edge, and the next corner, just connect them as usual. When you encounter a motif connection point later on, always insert the hook under any 2 threads of the previously connected slip stitch for other positions. Simply connect by picking up the chain spaces as usual. Everyone can follow this method. And refer to the layout diagram, or the finished product, to crochet and connect all the motifs together. That's the end of the explanation for part 1 of the motif.